I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today,
channel.
watching the Apothecary Diaries Season 2, Episode 9. We've finally been given a name for the Empress Dowager. It feels like something that we were never going to get. Anchi. Interesting.
Yeah. And I feel still some lingering emotions about Anchi. Nothing that is to evoke the idea of, like, untrustworthiness. Like, I'm not suspicious of Anchi. If anything,
She's been through some shit.
My heart is hurting for Anchi, like, really, really bad. And
Yeah.
I hope that this tea party goes well. I hope that no one tries to frame the Empress Dowager as untrustworthy. I hope that none of the concubines get hurt. I want the best for Anchi, and I know that Mao Mao's gonna answer her question in whatever way it needs to actually be answered.
As long as she can make a request. What that request is, let's find out. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. How many episodes do you think are in the season? 24, 25?
I think so.
We have to get a new intro soon then.
Probably around, like, what, episode
12?
12?
13?
This part. Everything else I feel clear on. That one part.
Okay, what, like, he's obviously younger than he is now, but he's not like a child in those feelings. What would cause him to feel that way, you know?
I really want to talk about the visual representation of Mao Mao holding that kind of gold or gold stone in front of child Jinshi, like, later on in the discussion. Is this after the request was made?
Has to be.
We did say no one enters. I feel like we need permission to enter.
Yeah. Aww. Suiren is the best.
I mean, you did kind of get threatened. I mean, we know how much she's thinking about threats, external threats.
Ooh.
She reads all romance.
No.
Cute taste. Young taste. You know she is, always.
Oh, toys.
Toys.
Get in that box, Mao Mao. Whew.
Jinshi wants you to figure out the truth, Mao Mao. Mother desired.
I love this. What?
Is it gonna be something that helps her with the Wonder where he found it.
Oh my god, what is it?
It's poison.
明日になれば皇太后様の言う呪い足らなかった理由もはっきりします。それまでお待ちいただけますか。いつの間にか人士様まで。あんまり大げさにしたくなかったんだけど。
Their eye colors are actually pretty similar.
Yeah.
鼻につく匂い。お先が平たく揃えられた筆。趣味があったのでしょうか。
一度だけ書いていただいたことがあり、ここだけの秘密だとおっしゃっていました。皆に知られたら取り上げられてしまうからと。
What's the fidgeting?
動揺している人士様の癖だ。先帝はずっとこの部屋で絵を描かれていましたか。
それはわかりませんが、にこもるようになってからは同じものがついていたはずです。
その方を呼べますか。
まだ働いていたと思いますが。
呼びましょう。
会ってもいいですか。
どうぞ。
思ったより硬い。それに独特な匂いもする。必死に拭き取ろうとしたような汚れもある。そしてその汚れは壁に
It's
近
a
づくほ
secret.
ど
Someone's
増え
gonna
ている。
take away the painting. What was...
柔らかい。
What?
分厚い紙を何重にも貼っているのか。表面に塗料も塗られている。
Something's covered
周
up.
りには大方見当がついていたけど、もう一つどうでもいいことが分かりそうだ。
連れてきました。
あなたは。
やんごとなきお人の部屋を任されるにはかなり高齢に見えるけど、聞きしたいことがあるのですが。
この人は元奴隷です。
Former slave.
喋れま
Oh.
ました。そういうことか。
Unable to talk, he's not gonna
口
share
が聞けない
secrets.
人を選んで使用人にすることはままある。首を振るだけで構いません。この部屋に絵などはありませんでしたか。何かあったと思いますが。小娘の話など聞く耳はないということか。いや、違う。
Or is he scared?
何かを隠している。壁に何かあるのですか。
Oh, the reaction.
この壁紙、はいでもいいでしょうか。やめろとでも言わんばかりだな。
す。
I'm so scared, honestly. I'm like really scared.
それで何かわかるならば。
We're gonna be delicate with it.
慎重に。
Wow.
この絵。
なんだそれは。
先帝が描かれたものでしょう。先帝の人間性に興味はない。国の頂に立ったために本当の才能を生かすことなく亡くなったのだろう。それだけの力がこの絵にはある。これは幽王という石を砕いて作った絵の具だと思います。
Orpiment.
幽王はひどくと同じ毒性を持っています。
As arsenic.
そしてひどくには物を腐
Holy
りつける
shit.
作用があります。壁紙か何かに使われた幽王を知らず知らずのうち取り込んでいたのではと考えていました。
But he was painting with
この
it.
部屋にある筆の形状を見て違う可能性が出てきました。幽王を元にした顔料を使っていたのです。含まれるひどくは少しずつ体に取り込まれていったのでしょう。全身に回っていたはずです。帝ともあろうお方が絵を描くなんてとんでもないとも周りはそう捉える。だからバカ殿と呼ばれた先帝でも口の聞けない奴隷の従者に部屋の管理を任せていたのもそのためだろう。まだ弾力がある。この下に一体何枚
Oh my
How many
god.
paintings could be
Yeah.
under
これ
there?
ほど多くの絵となると道具を用意したのはおそらく先帝の母である女帝。分かっていたのだ。自分の子が帝にふさわしい器ではないことを偶然帝の地位を手に入れた悪を守ろう
Because
と
of everyone else
自
with
分
the
のもとに
epidemic.
権力を集めた。女帝と呼ばれるようになったとしてもこのため最後に与えたのがこの場所と
Oh.
絵を描く道具だった。毒だとは知らずに。
Not knowing it was poison.
なんという皮肉だろう。私が言えるのはここまでです。
ええ、十分な働きでした。
まるで早急の彼方にいる誰かに問いかけているみたいだ。 感傷的になってるな。
はあ、腹が立つ。かすれていてもなお、あの方の存在感
That
は
person's
大きいのね。
presence.
私はこの絵の中にいるのかしら。所詮私など通り過ぎるだけの存在。ここにある傷跡のおかげで国母としての今があるに過ぎない。偶然先帝の手にかかり身ごもった幼い娘を同情する声もあった。確かにそんな娘はいただろう。帝の性癖のことはあらかじめ知っていた。母は側室、そして幼い顔の割には所長が来るのが早かった私を都合のいい道具として利用したのだ。19妃の次女として入った。妃は腹違いの姉。育てられた姉は父の思惑など知る由もなかった。
ねえ、アンシ、早く飾りをつけてちょうだい。いらっしゃるのね。この前遠目にお見かけしたけど、とても美しい方だったわ。
Anshi just knew.
そうですか。お待ちしておりました。さあ、どうぞ中へ。
とても国の頂点に立つ者には思えなかった。妃を慰めるか帝に非礼を浴びるかすればよかったのだ。けれど
大丈夫でしょうか。
確かにこちらを捉えた。野心に満ちた少女の目を。私は先帝の子を宿し、何度も命の危険にさらされた。子が男子で女帝が孫であると認めてくれたことだろう。以前女児を産んだ娘がいた。娘は先帝の子だと言い張ったが、帝に知らぬと否定され、その父親とされた医官が女児と共に追放。それ以来医官も去勢を義務付けられた。
Castrated as well.
この腹の手術をした者も
一人高級に残された。彼女が高級を出ることは一生ないだろう。それからさらに時が経ち、少女の外見で亡くなった私に先帝は会いに来ようとはしなかった。
How would she have gotten pregnant again?
はい、師匠様が進言なさったとか。
Shisho.
高級はどんどん大きくなり、幼い娘にしかまともに話しかけられない情けない男。そんなものに忘れられるのが許せなかった。私が怖いですか？私が大人の女になったから？
Did
そ
she?
れともこの腹の傷が？許しを請うて怯える男をいたぶった。男に手をかけられた幼い娘たち、深く思い出につなぎ止めるために。その後先帝は心を壊してあの胸に引きこもった。誰のせいかなんて追求する気も起きない。結局あの男はこの部屋で女帝である母と娘たちばかり思い描いていたのだろう。一度だけ私を描いてくれた。とても大事にしていたけれど、睡蓮に捨てるよう
That's the
な。
painting.
Yeah.
私には必要ない。私が先帝にとって必要ないように。
昔あの方が私たちのもとへ来たことがありましたね。こんなものを拾いました。これが有王なのだそうです。
この石が？
今朝睡蓮がようやく返してくれました。
そう。不義の子と言われようと、取り違えられた子であろうと、大切な子に違いないのに。
私はあの絵を見たことがある気がします。年若い娘の絵で、この石を拾ったのはその絵を覚えていたからでしょう。
Huh.
捨てろと言ったはずなのに。
あなたは好んでこの色を着ていらっしゃいましたね。
たまたまよ。
あの絵の女性は本当に女帝なのでしょうか。何を伝えようとしたのでしょう。
知らないわ。知ろうとしないことを
Chose
I
な
chose not to know.
それよりもあなた
Mao is currently choosing not to know some
ずいぶん面白い
things.
予感に目をかけているようですね。
なかなか使えるものです。
そうね。でもそれが全てではないことくらいわかる。
Wow.
何年も見てきたのだから。お気に入りは隠しておかないと誰かに隠されてしまうわよ。
May hide them from you. That's kind of ominous if you think about it. Not that she'd do anything, but for like
Yeah.
something else in the future.
Okay, that was the Apothecary Diaries Season 2, Episode 9. Things happened in a way that I didn't imagine things happened, but they definitely happened that way.
Anshi's actual inner thoughts and her actual knowing of the reason why she was even planted into the rear palace to begin with, her being almost like an active participant in some of the things, whether she wanted them necessarily or not, could be up for debate, but she was definitely aware of the situation that she was put in when she was brought to the rear palace to be what her like half-sister's lady in waiting.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely a knowing of why she was here, and that was not something that I necessarily expected.
It's so interesting because, like, regardless of her father being who he was, like, that hasn't. You'd think that that doesn't have a lot to deal with it unless it was like specifically identified. So, right? It wasn't said like my dad told me that the emperor was into this type of girl. It was that it felt like she had recognized that pattern herself and saw that even though her sister thought that she was in the position to be a person who was chosen, that there's just this awareness that Anchi had from a young age even, and it was interesting. I'd love to pull up the word because she said it wasn't opportunistic, but it was something
Ambition. She
ambition.
kept using the
yeah.
word that she had an ambition as a child.
And she brought up the idea, like, yes, she could have gone to her sister, even given her position, to check her, but no, just straight lined to the
to
emperor.
him and asking, "Are you all right?" And in that moment, they locked eyes.
Yeah, man, Anchi has got to be one of the most complex characters we have ever been introduced to in this show. I don't know where to begin. Like even to think about something that was told to Suiren, but also towards Jinshi, right? Like, if one only focuses too much on one thing, they lose sight of others.
Mm-hmm.
You could even potentially wonder if things that have happened so far that Mao Mao has caught might have been caught by Jinshi if he wasn't so enamored by Mao Mao. That isn't the case, but like just the idea of Anchi implanting that so young makes a lot of sense, knowing that she herself was already seeing these like political plays in her head when she was just a child.
Right. And Jinshi's kind of in this situation. They're giving some sort of comparison, obviously, and I'm using that with very loose terms, to both Jinshi and then the late emperor in terms of like what it's like to be raised within a very confined and repressed environment, and how Jinshi's childish tendencies are starting to come out slightly in moments where he feels more comfortable with Mao Mao. And obviously that comparison, like I said, incredibly loose. They are very different people. But that is something that is not necessarily something that Anchi as a character carries.
Yeah.
She came into this environment. She wasn't kind of raised in it in the same way that her sons were.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm trying to have a confident opinion on what I think Anchi's stance or take is here. Like what she intentionally doesn't want to realize and know, right? It's difficult because we get the idea that the painting here was the Empress. That is Anchi's perspective, and that is what she chooses to believe.
Yeah.
It's why do you choose to believe that, right? If the reality, what's the reality then? Is the how I'm viewing it currently is that after Anchi did to him what she did, and then he was locked away here. This fucked up pedophile might have realized that he fucked up and started having an appreciation or regret towards Anchi, and that was taken out through the painting, and it was depicting her. As Jinshi said, those were her colors, right? And to even consider for a second that the type of man he was would be able to do that is
lock eyes with someone that wasn't a young girl.
Exactly. But
it seems like he was able to look, if you do believe that the center woman in the paintings is Anchi, then you would have to come to believe that he had come to a place where he was able to lock eyes with Anchi as an adult woman.
Or would have or regretted that he wasn't able to, you know?
Right. And I feel like, as you brought up, Jinshi points out, like, this is a color that his mom was always wearing. This is the color.
She still has it on her lining.
She still wears this color. Maybe not as like all over her outfit as she did before, but that's what she's wearing in the secret painting, you know, that is in Jinshi's special box.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found that your thoughts from this episode helped me definitely with how you read the scene that he had painted, because I did not come out of it connecting who it was in the painting or who it could have been.
For a second, it was focused on a little girl in the painting, and that was my first take of it. Like, oh, is that what Anchi's trying to put on? But I think that's the intention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and she had a line when she was looking at the painting, and especially the center image, that almost gave like a distaste for the girl that is specifically being centered here.
Yeah.
And it, in my mind, during that scene, I was like, was there another girl that like was your rival or whatever in love and like stole his attention or affections, and that's whoever he couldn't get his mind off of, therefore he's drawing pictures of her?
Oh, how infuriating. Like, that's her response to it. Even faded, that person's presence is still strong.
And she tenderly kind of touches it.
I wonder if I'm even part of this picture. No, I must have been only a passing thought to him.
She's having to like tell herself that.
Yeah, you're writing reality as what you're internally telling yourself, right?
That, or obviously I understand completely where you're coming from, like, and I like your thoughts on it. But if it was the Empress, what if we know so much about what the late emperor likes, that we could have also been like, well, this is a color his mom wears a lot, so we're gonna wear that color a lot too. Like, it could have been more than just like, we know what he's interested in terms of like how you look, but also like how you dress and what color you wear could have also been some facts that she knew. But I do really like the read of her kind of separating herself from almost like her past. It feels like in that moment of the incident, there was a wall that then was erected even higher than ever before between maybe her and her past, her and him. There was something between that he broke after the incident. Yeah. And I feel like she couldn't have come out of that as she always has been before either. I like it.
What if that babe, what feelings does she have towards that baby if it isn't Jinshi, right?
Right.
Like, damn.
Well, I think Mao Mao's mom can be a good example here.
Yeah.
I feel like if we think about both whatever is the creation of birth or you know, the conception of Jinshi, or who would have been Jinshi, to Mao Mao's conception, and how those both played about with the kind of mother, the mom being the primary kind of initiator into whatever it was. And Mao Mao has even used words like trickery before to describe her own mother. So yeah, it's really, we always have been like, oh wow, both of them are around the same age. We have some fun parallels to play with in terms of like how they were raised, their family dynamics, whatever. And I feel like it just got a little bit like a little closer than I had even like pictured.
Yeah.
But you know, I came out of this episode being like, I don't think Anchi knows this is not her kid. I think I came out of this.
We're gonna get to that because I have a very different opinion.
Really?
Yeah. Like, okay. But I think mine's totally emotional based. But I think this is a good segue into it because it'll be brought up in a second. when Jinchi like brings up that he visited us once in the past, and to see Anchi's reaction to it, like, how many years ago was that? Yeah, that did happen. I found this back then, and we obviously know what it is. It's the orpiment that was mentioned earlier. And then you bring into question why he was going that day. What was his intention there? Did he have something to say?
Doesn't Jinshi bring that up? Like, I wonder if he had something to tell us.
Does he? What did he try to tell us back then?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But really, it's a choosing not to know. And then what do we get as soon as she says, I don't know?
I chose not to know. But here's the thing.
Do you see her expression?
Yeah.
It's like forlorn. It's sad.
Yeah. I wonder if it was the Emperor thinking that Jinshi was his second kid with this woman as he is painting her, and had actual like care or emotion, or there was an earnest attempt there, but to think that he was trying to do that, this fucking pedophile piece of shit, get the fuck away from my kid type shit. I don't know.
I feel like there's so much here that is secrets, or, you know, something that we're being kind of pushed or diverted to think something else.
Yeah.
Obviously, multiple characters in this story think different truths to be true. Like, they think different things are true.
Yeah.
And as a viewer, we're trying to kind of hear, okay, this is what Jinshi thinks is true. This is what this person thinks. This is what we're being told by other scenes that we're witness to as, like, this outside perspective. And it can get a little bit, like, jarring, which is, like, perfect if you're trying to create some sort of, like, detective mystery type environment. There needs to be me being like, oh, I need to look for the evidence for my theories and, like, search through to find something that fits what I'm thinking is happening, or what I think this person or character feels. And I feel like I don't have any, like, concrete, like, I'm not going in one direction fully for
good.
The Empress Dowager yet, or for the late Emperor.
I think that is how we should be going about it, and I am just incorrect, and I have a bias and confirmation bias.
Oftentimes I'm the one that has to put my theories
sure.
on the shelf, you know, though.
Like, so this is when we get into, like, our differing points, and me and you being more, like, open-minded, and me being like, oh, I just have a feeling that she knows, right? Like, looking at Jinshi, child of immorality, child of a mistake. It would be, it's, you can apply these things to multiple scenarios.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
No matter what they say, a precious child nonetheless. Like, when, immediately upon hearing that this episode, I'm like, yup, confirmed. Like, obviously not. I'm being hyperbolic, but it gave me that Anchi's been nothing but a great mother, appreciates Jinshi and loves him for how pure and honest of a child he has been and is. But there's a slight sentiment of detachment that I was trying to cling on to try to, like, you know, get that point over.
She does bring up how long she's been watching him. Like, she's been watching over him for so many years. And then we get that she overlaps him visually with the late Emperor when he was younger. And so I was reading this conversation, especially with the immorality. As you said, these things could be attached to many different scenarios. But obviously the one I was attaching it to was she views this as her kid. She is obviously using their visual comparison.
You are not your father.
To fit her narrative.
Yeah.
A little bit in terms of, like, this is definitely, like, my kid with him. But obviously he could also be genetically the kid of your son with the Emperor.
Exactly.
Who could also look like the late Emperor. You know, like, that could work too.
I think the more concrete take is that of, like, no matter what they say, precious child nonetheless, like, they do the visual comparison, and you're not him, even though this is the circumstance and this is the person that you came from. I agree that is probably the correct way to take it. But
I think the "you're not him" is a great kind of line to. I feel like that goes with what I was saying of, like, we bring up kind of the idea of being sheltered. Yeah. And we already kind of touched on it so far. Like, what it would do to a person and how they act around peers, how they are able to cope, you know, if they're kind of forced into this little box to act a certain way and not be able to be like who they are. And they're like, you have a job title upon your birth.
Yeah.
And you are being raised in this sheltered environment to be this job title.
What do you think of Anchi's take on, like, or you know, you might want to hide her, or somebody else may hide her from you?
The favorite toys, obviously, we bring it up in the beginning of the episode with actually looking at the favorite toys, and then we bring it up here with Anchi being very clear in her mind of who she's talking about, and obviously Jinshi knows that we're bringing up Mao Mao here in this conversation. But what does she say? Does she think that he doesn't realize that he feels the way that he does, or does she?
No,
does
even
her
I
line...
can tell.
Yeah, even I can tell.
I've been watching you for many years now.
You should hide your favorites.
It's so interesting because it's almost like she's like saying what Mao Mao was earlier. She's noticing that child side of Jinshi being able to be shown through conversing and being around Mao Mao as well.
But what would happen if something happened to his current favorite? Would he cry in the same way that he did as a child? You know, I feel like that is also a really fun question to bring up here. Like, if we're talking about comparing how he would react as a child to losing his favorite toy, how would he react now to losing something that means a lot to him? Something that's not a toy, and he's already even established he does not view her as a pawn, a toy, or
here's the thing. After he lost her the first time... and
we do know how he reacts.
Yeah, but I think that having that happen solidifies where, like, from Jinshi's perspective, what Mao Mao is to him and how important she is and what he's not willing to do. Like, he would fuck people. He would shove desks out of the way to
Think about how amazing the moment was of him. An attempt on his life, an assassination attempt had just happened on his life. And he carries her down those stairs from that shrine. And he walks and walks as the blood drips off of her leg. And everyone's bowing to him. That moment is so freaking powerful. And Lacan's face during it too. It's like that's the moment where Lacan gets to see, like, this is how Jinshi feels about Mao Mao. And this is what he would do for her. That he would stand up as in his position and just proudly face the chin up, walk out carrying her. Oof.
I'm just like, as hard as it is to watch again, I'm pulling up the scene with Anchi as an adult and the Emperor. And like just trying to, I wanted him to remember me more intensely than any of them. All of his victims. The late Emperor's mind was destroyed and he shut himself in that building. Like, god damn it. Like, him avoiding eye contact is also him avoiding the shit that he's doing that's morally wrong too, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if we'll ever get an answer to what exactly. Obviously, he's long dead and gone, and Anchi has no desire to know exactly what it was, the reason of him visiting.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if that will ever be something that we even have conjecture about.
Yeah.
But I think that brings me to wanting to, I said during the opening that I wanted to bring back up the visual of Mao Mao holding the stone.
Yeah.
And child Jinshi being there. Because I feel like that in itself encapsulates what one of the other big things that's happening in the past, like, 3 episodes is. So if we could just bring that up real quick.
In the intro?
Yes.
Cool.
Here we go. So yeah. Okay. So how I view this visual in the opening, obviously it could be seen as a little more surface level of, oh, well, Mao Mao solves what this rock is that child Jinshi picked up as a kid when the late Emperor came to visit, that was kept in a box of his toys and other things that had been taken away from him. It could be just seen as that. But I feel like when we saw Jinshi, either within last episode or the episode before, after his nightmare of the flashback, he almost goes into a fetal position on the ground. And I feel like we didn't talk about that aspect enough. We talked about how he believes that his dad was the late emperor, and he had previously thought that the current emperor was his father, but he was told, no, he's your brother. We focused a lot on kind of the logistics. We focused on like what Jinshi believes is true in terms of his family dynamic, but we didn't focus on what he says after that, which is almost pleading and begging for Mao Mao to figure it out, for Mao Mao to be able to, so he doesn't have to like yell it out to her. He wants her, he's hoping she's already figured things out.
I don't know if it's he's hoping. I think that he says that she's bound to figure it out.
But then continue with the scene.
Or perhaps she already has.
That would put me at
ease. Interesting.
And then look at his face.
I can't stay quiet about this forever. He wants
her to know. And I feel like we're being shown this because even within this past 3 episodes,
right,
we continue with the idea of Mao Mao is piecing things together, but is still saying internally, I don't want to know.
Yeah. And
that's exactly what the Empress Dowager says about herself in this episode, about the late emperor. Like, I don't want to know.
See,
but we have a Jinshi that wants her to know. And what we have is, like, you can think about it like she's picking up pieces of his childhood trauma, pieces of who he is that makes him him in front of him, and almost like helping that. If you think about someone who's like kind of kept in a house and sheltered in the way that he is, this visual can be seen as Mao Mao kind of reaching into the child within him and making sense of his life together, and that they can share in his secrets and share in his feelings. And I believe he wants so desperately, he would feel so good.
Yeah.
So at ease.
He'd be able to exhale. But the issue is what Mao Mao says this episode. Like, she doesn't even know what her job title is at this point. And Mao Mao, like, if I'm Mao Mao, I'm also like, okay, I shouldn't be thinking about this. Because if we're thinking about this and figuring this shit out, we could be at jeopardy. We're not in a position high enough that it's okay if we find out this classified information, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But it's like, I feel like that's where they are at.
Yeah.
That is where their relationship is at the moment, is one of them is like, please, can we please get closer? I want you to understand me. And the other one's like, ooh, I still don't want to look behind the door,
yeah,
you know?
I feel you.
There was something else in this episode that I wanted to talk about briefly, and that is, we got a little more of the doctor facts. Like, why it is that we castrate the doctors, and that I don't remember who it was in the lineage, but there was the idea of if there was a female heir, we would claim that it wasn't actually our child. And so the doctor would then be declared to be the father of the child.
There was once a girl who gave birth to a daughter. She claimed that the girl was the late emperor's daughter, but he denied it, saying he knew nothing of it. A doctor was declared the father and was exiled with the baby. Back then, doctors were the only ones allowed to enter the rear palace without castration. After that, doctors were required to be castrated as well.
I find that interesting, like, because I guess you could just read it as, oh, she was trying to pretend that the late emperor and her had a child together. But could there be other motives or reasons why if it wasn't the heir? Because if he knows his job is just to create a male heir. And he obviously wants to be doing nothing with his position other than whatever it is he has to do. He's like, I want to paint, bro, you know? Let me paint. Let me be who I want to be. I'm just going to go through the motions of what it is that I'm tasked to do, which is create a male heir.
Well, he wasn't even allowed to paint, right? Like, only
secretly, he was allowed to paint. His mom got him paints and brushes and a room to paint in.
Yeah, but, like, I feel, I don't know.
I don't think I should read into it too much, but obviously, because it totally could have been the scenario of someone claiming that.
I think that was the case.
But yeah, obviously, we then bring up Lauman.
Yeah.
Within a couple sentences later.
The one in charge of this operation. How unfortunate for him. What a connection. The girl who gave birth to the so-called daughter was left in the rear palace. She'll probably never leave the rear palace.
Who would... You know, that's a good question, too, though. The girl that claimed that she had a child with the late emperor was still within the walls of the rear palace.
Yeah.
could she still be within the story somehow?
I don't know.
This person who maybe feels wronged, who has a child that was taken outside of the walls and being maybe raised by a previous doctor.
Interesting.
There's so much going on, because you know why there's so much going on? There's so many freaking people that live here.
That's true. There are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's all I have. I think the last thing that I had was just, I love the quote, if one focuses too much on one thing, they lose sight of others. I hope that that is not just foreshadowing in a bad way.
Well, why do we have that and then we end with the your favorites might be hidden from you line? There is like some ominous energy.
But I'm always saying there's ominous energy. In the next episode, we're having like pizza parties.
Well,
it's fine.
I feel like we keep building this idea of ominous energy and foreshadowing of bad things coming to pass, and then we keep squashing it.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, look at the Emperor's expression. Oh, nope. Oh, look, everyone's finding out Mao Mao can make medicine. Oh, nope, we're good.
I cannot believe Isla and Island are in the story right now. Like, there's so much going on that's so important that I have to continuously remind myself, like, these two characters were introduced to
right
us.
now.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much going on. There's so many other kind of plot lines. Like, who's teaching ladies in waiting and concubines how to create poisons? Like, what is going on here? There's too many things going on.
All right. You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We hope to see you next time.